Arham here. We've got Intellectually Confused, and we've got Gulzar with us. So let's just take those calls, and we can finish up with
Arham's
news
been
stories.
waiting for a while.
But yeah, I just, while having a conversation, while just listening to you guys, especially your stance against something called Islamophobia and that Islamophobia and all that nonsense, there's a peculiar question that came to my mind, and I believe that I'm allowed to ask that. Nuria, what if you were supposed to marry a Muslim guy? Will you marry someone who has his religion known as Islam?
Me now?
Yeah, let's suppose. Let's just take it as a thought
No way,
experiment.
mate. Sorry.
Experiment.
No, I
Will
would.
you
I
ever
mean,
marry?
if they were a
Okay, so the
practicing
question is
Muslim
pretty
that genuinely
straightforward.
believed in it, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that means you. How should I interpret that? That means you're a Islamophobia or Islamophobia or something?
It means I don't
That
want to
you.
spend the rest of my life, ideally, with somebody who believes that someone flew up on a winged horse, like to Masjid
But
al-Aqsa,
but
pretty
but
much.
but Nuria, I mean, if the person is really, really morally educatable, and he gives you a lot of respect, and he gives you the love and the wishes and the fulfillment and everything, that I don't think
But
so.
he won't. Let me throw a spanner in the works. So it's like if somebody asked me, like, "Hey, Harris, would you like to believe if everything's great, and then this girl that you're interested in, she says I'm a flat earther, or I have some ridiculous belief." I know that in the long run, it's not going to work. She has a whole different
No,
worldview. Yeah, it does.
that,
But
no,
it
no,
does
no,
mean
no,
that.
no. I'm
So
so
you,
sorry, sir.
okay, well, hang
I
on.
just
Let
said
me finish my point. Let me finish. So we can disagree on that point. You may think that okay, you can't see past it, and you think okay, well, we can have the different. When it comes to intimate relationships, marriage between two. By marriage, I mean union between two people. There's so many other boxes that you have to tick. The sexual
but they
chemistry is
never
one.
end.
The sexual chemistry one. Intellectual chemistry is another. Similar goals. That's why a lot of people marry within their own fraternity. So are they like porophobe, that actors marry actors, businessmen marry other big businessmen, or rich people marry other rich people? They're richer-phobe or porophobe? No, they're not. There are so many other boxes that need to be ticked, and unfortunately, an atheist may not end up. And we have so many examples where one person becomes an atheist and says, "My wife is she gets worried that I don't pray anymore, or what kind of education we're going to give to our children." It happens. So and again, would you like to marry a brunette or a blonde or whatever? You have a preference. It's okay to have a preference. There's no phobia in that. It's okay to have a preference.
So, what I understood, basically, you are conditionalizing the marriage thingy. That's it.
I mean,
You're
that's
just
a personal preference to not want to be with somebody who believes in certain things that
if you
it's
allow
nothing
me
to do with them being Muslim or not, really.
if you allow me to finish.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely. So what I understood that you guys are doing the same thing which is happening in the Muslim world right now, and they have conditionalized the marriage that you can't marry someone who's not a Muslim, you can't marry someone who has some kind of humanistic
There's a
tendencies.
difference. False comparison. Very quickly, we got to go point by point. We got to go point by point. We're conditionalizing. Well, no. But listen to the point, Arham. Arham, it's going to very quickly. I'm sorry. I'll keep it very short. I'm saying it's a false analogy right from the onset, because we are actually not conditionalizing, because it is for an individual. Do you understand the difference between individualism and collectivism?
No, that's
individualism.
not the case.
Let me finish
If
my
you're gonna
point.
go with the individualism, you are actually conditionalizing it based on something known as individual conditioning.
No, but we have not created a church of atheism, and we have said that you wouldn't belong to us if you married it. Nuria is free to do whatever she wants. It's an individual capacity. She's making a decision.
That's it. So that means the question was for her, that if she's gonna marry if she's
she's told you the answer. She's giving you the answer.
She just agreed that she'll never marry a Muslim. She'll never marry. She literally said that.
So if he's practicing and holds that worldview,
that's what the Wahhabis are saying, that you're not supposed to marry a non-Muslim.
But they do it takfir. But they do it takfir. Again, you're not getting the point. Again, we're not actually conditional. It's the individual choice. Wahhabis are making a collective ruling. We're not making a ruling. But there's a difference.
Preference versus something being codified.
There is
personal preference versus codification. Yeah. Do you see that difference?
So that actually shows my case, that my case is pretty defensive here, that you have an individual in front of you. You're going to approach the individual and you'll ask that specific person that the person will marry an atheist or a humanist or everyone. And this is just up to him.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
So it's up
what
to
are
him.
your other
Yeah, so that's fine. What's wrong
the
with
whole
that?
case the whole case you presented is clear cut vague. I mean, it's a clear cut thingy of something known as
How is that vague? It's so clear.
God individualism.
It's up to me whether I want to marry a blonde or a brunette or a straight girl or a transsexual girl or a Muslim or religious. It's up to me. It's an individual choice.
In secularism, it's also up to you to fire a girl or you divorce him or whatever you want to do. You are God in your own way. That's what the secularism is all about.
What's wrong? I don't see anything wrong with that, and that's totally opposite to Wahhabism.
Okay, no, sir. I'm so sorry. That's not how it's gonna happen. That's clearly a special pleading fallacy from your side. That's exactly what.
Has a special pleading fallacy. Hang on a sec. See, Arun, this is why I said that you're gonna make a dahi of my mind. I just gave you a clear. Actually, hang on. I don't want to mute you. Hang on. Let me finish my point. Let's not talk over each other. You compared personal preference with a religious ruling, and you compare the two as though they're on equal footing. They're not. I said it's up to me. Marriage is always conditional. If I don't like you for any reason, if there's a chemistry is not there, I reserve the right to say I don't want to marry you or I don't want to be with you. If a girl is sitting there, and she says that all of a sudden everything's going great, and she says, I believe in spirituality, and then she starts giving me some woo-woo ideas about something, and I'll be like, that could be a turn off, and I can walk out of the date. So that's perfectly fine. However, it would be different if atheism as a church gave a ruling and said, and atheists by and large actually used to believe in one particular book or a ruling or a leader, and it says you must not marry anyone outside of atheism. Or then you could compare it. This is not.
I'm sorry, sir. It seems like maybe I've caused some kind of a disturbance in your thinking, but I simply asked.
You caused a disturbance in my thinking. No, you haven't. So now you are being defensive here because that hasn't happened. I've given us
about 1 to 2 minutes.
I'm gonna have to put you on mute then. I'm gonna have to put you on mute because this is why you guys do it. You've caused disturbance in my mind. No, you haven't. Everyone who's listening to it, it is so clearly I have given the biggest. I've explained you so clearly how it is false equivalence, as clear as it can be. But we know that you always come around and you think that you've got you're onto something.
With due honor to you, I asked her one single question: will she ever marry a Muslim? And she said she'll never marry.
She won't. I wouldn't marry a flat earther. I would never marry a flat earther. I would never marry a flat earther. I just told you I would never marry a flat earther.
That's it. That means you are conditionalizing it in terms of
there's nothing wrong with that.
He has a belief known as a flat earther, and that person is not going to marry. That's a clear cut. It's a kind of a phobiatic thinking. I'm sorry, sir, but that's how it is.
Right, because you want a life partner who shares a similar worldview that you could raise your kids with, or you want
phobia is a new word.
Okay,
flat earth phobia. He's talking about flat earth phobia.
Will you ever marry a Christian, Nuria?
Did I ever? No.
No, he said, would you marry?
That's it. That's the real thing. That's just another way of saying that she is Christianophobia and destroying my
kids. No, I have never had the chance to marry a Christian. Would I marry a Christian? Sure. Christians don't really care about their religions. The ones that I've met, they are fine. I could easily get
along. Will you ever marry a Christian? Will you ever marry a Christian?
How many times do you expect me to get married at this ripe age?
I think he's gonna. He wants to propose. I think he wants to know whether would you marry him or not.
No, not at all.
No, I definitely would not marry anybody who thinks that this is
phobia. So I'm not going to marry. I'm not going to marry. But so you said the flat earth phobia. This is a phobiatic behavior. So if I refuse to marry a flat earther, this is a flat earth phobia. Well, there's so many other things that I wouldn't. Ever heard of a chemistry? This is what I mean by chemistry. If a blonde hair,
chemical bonding. Chemistry doesn't work without chemical bonding. A chemical bonding is formed without something known as love. It just bonds cohesively without any.
I can't fall in love. Exactly. So I can't fall in love with a flat earther. And Nuria can't fall in love with a guy who believes in flying donkeys.
You will never fall in love with a flat earther.
I would. I've fallen in love with so many times with non-flat earthers and non-Muslims. Fallen in love plenty of times.
But then in the end of the story, with due respect to you, since you have muted me so many times, and I spoke
Twice.
like 100 words and you were speaking 5,000 words, my case is pretty clear
Again,
that this is
you counted that. You're a mathematician as well.
And
you really overestimate your mind.
You're creating some kind of a differentiation, and you're not making a unity in the world. You are dividing the world.
I'm okay with that. We're okay with that. We're not okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's why I can't do anything else.
And no sane or rational person is going to marry you either, because your idea is a whack job, and that's not anti-stupidophobia, but that's just people who find other people stupid. They just don't want them in their lives, and there's not. I think everyone would know what we're talking about. It couldn't be clearer than that. And Nuria or I. Or some blonde girl who doesn't like brown guys. There's no phobia, and it's perfectly okay to have a preference in chemistry. Marriage is a amalgamation of many factors, and all the boxes need to tick. And yeah, that's why.
100%.
Like Ben's been
this is just a personal yeah, go on.
Terrible false equivalency. Terrible.
Yeah, and also just to clarify, to throw some spanner in your works as well. Like, if you really need to know, I am very much open to and have been dating guys who are Muslim by just the title. They don't believe in it at all. So it's not just Islamophobia or I won't date a Christian. Like, I will date anybody who's sane enough to be like, oh, this is the religion I was born into, but it's kind of crap. So here I am. I don't take it seriously. That's still okay. But regardless, what you're talking about is a complete false equivalence. And having a personal preference for a certain worldview like that or a belief system is nothing like what you're saying. And there's a big difference between that being codified and being a collective sanction as opposed to a personal preference that somebody has. Why would you, when you think so differently, be with somebody who believes in stuff like that? Can you imagine the level of arguments and how uncomfortable it would be to raise children in most situations? Some people can do it. It's just not something I personally want to do. So anyway,
there's nothing wrong with that, and there's no phobia in that.
There's no phobia in that.
Hello, guys. Yeah, I have a couple of points that Arham was making. I know I respect him as a professional philosopher. He's self-proclaimed professional philosopher. I never see the guy who says I'm a professional philosopher.
He's a professional philosopher.
I missed that. Did you say that?
Many times. Yes,
I know him very well.
And it makes a lot of spelling mistakes.
Oh, you know him, Gulzar. Okay.
Yes. So I have experience with marriage, living in West. Okay. So I have just 3 points to add up. My first thing, I know a lot of white friends. I have a lot of white friends, including men and women. Okay. But I prefer to marry a girl from Pakistan. Am I white girl phobia? No.
He would say
according to him, yes.
According to him, yes.
So his question was flawed question, because marriage is a package. You share common things, then you start marrying. Number 1 point. So my first point that I know a lot of white. So am I white phobia? Absolutely not. Why? Because I prefer to marry a girl from Pakistan because of some sharing common culture traits like food.
Similar,
I like spicy food, right?
Yes.
And languages. So many things.
Number 2 point, that Quran chapter 5 verse 5 says that women cannot marry Christian man. So is Allah Christian man phobia? Yes, absolutely yes. Because
Quran literally says that you can't be friends with Christians.
Yes. So before you question Nuria, you question your Allah, right? Number 2 point. So number 2, that yes, Nuria or anyone in the planet can choose to marry with the person with the faith or not with the faith. Because if you marry some person with the faith, let's say you marry Sanatani, and the person keeps talking about, reincarnation, you won't like it. So it's not phobia, it is the real fear. Phobia is the false fear. So it is really fear that you marry someone who keeps offering 5 times a day. I'll be pissed off. So marrying
and then she will force you, and question you and nag you all the time,
or at the very least judge you and think you're going to hell and actually believe that.
Yes. So if I have a chance, of course, I have a happy marriage. But if I have a chance, I would prefer to marry an atheist girl, not because I have a phobia with the faith person. I have real fear with the faith person. I have real fear. I'm scared of those beliefs. So that's my point. So can I share my screen if you want to say something?
Sure, certainly.
No, very well said, Gulzar. Then thank you
So
for saying
his
that.
question is always philosophical question and always flawed question. So
Yes.
anyways,
It doesn't meet the 10 commandments of logic. Go read that.
And then in his own world, he just goes, he throws in some sort of fallacy, a few words that he's learned. It's like special pleading fallacy. How is a special pleading fallacy? I don't think he even understands what it means. But anyway, yeah.
Also, someone forced him to marry someone that he doesn't want and then claim that he's being phobic if he doesn't agree to it. Why don't we try it out with you?
No, but he would say, I'm pretty sure he would have said that. Oh no, I would marry a flat earther if I like her. Right? Yeah, unless he.
No, it doesn't matter if you like her or not. Get married, because according to him, you've just got to get married to all these people to prove that you're not phobic against the ones you're not marrying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so professional philosopher questions are always flawed questions. So anyways.
If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.